I'm about to write 50,000 words. Hello beautiful people on the internet, my name is Jaden and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I post a lot of lifestyle content and self-development type videos. If you're interested in either one of those, be sure to subscribe. But until then, let's get on with this challenge, I guess. I can't say I'm not excited for this project because I absolutely am. I've been wanting to do this probably since, oh god, who knows how long. It's probably been 10 years. And for me to think that I'm actually gonna do this, that's pretty cool. Although it's so intimidating and I'm kind of like, will I actually be able to finish it this time? Also making a YouTube video on top of it, and I'm also journaling, I'm also running, I'm like doing a lot of different, I don't know, like challenges, projects, whatever you want to call it at one time. So yeah, this is a lot to take on. In 30 days from now, I'm hypothetically going to have a full book written. Never finished a book, ever. I've started a lot, but I never finished any. 50,000 words that was a lot even when I was writing every day. Just for the fun of it, not for Nano. So, I don't know. So today is day one. It's November 1st. I do have an idea, so at least we have that. I've kind of had the inspiration, the plot all played out in my head already, and I just didn't want to start it because I wanted to start it for Nano. And I'm unsure if this is like the best one to use, but this is the only plot that I have a little bit more fleshed out than any other like inspiration I've gotten. I have one book that I'm currently writing right now, but I've already started it and I probably have like 5,000 to 10,000 words into it, which is not a crazy amount, but it would be a good portion of that book if I am writing only 50,000 words. I think that one's gonna be way longer than 50,000 words when I actually do finish it, if I actually do finish it. But I felt like the kind of like micromanagement of trying to figure out how many words I actually put on that, like if I'm going back and editing what I already wrote, or I don't know if I'm just adding on to some of the paragraphs I already wrote. I feel like the word count would be hard to track at that point, even though I could just say write 50,000 more words than what I already had as the word count when I started. I just feel like that's not true to the process, especially because a lot of people are pretty adamant that you should start on day one, like you should basically go in with nothing. A lot of people even say you should go in with no inspiration at all, like you should just write whatever your heart desires. I don't think that would really work for me, but I will say that my plot for this one is not fully fleshed out. It's just a general vibe, a general idea. So the inspiration for this is actually the song Gold Rush by Taylor Swift, and also very inspired by the Penderwicks books, which are some more childish books, like not like childish, but like for younger people that I read when I was a kid. And those are based in Maine, I believe. If not Maine, then somewhere on the East Coast. And Gold Rush kind of has that same vibe. I don't know if she says anything about a location, but she talks about a coastal town. And I have always really liked vibes of the East Coast, specifically around Maine. I grew up reading a good bit of books that were kind of based around those kind of locations and like kind of country club vibes. There was a Sarah Dessen book that I read that was kind of like that as well. Lots of really good books with country clubs on either lake towns or coastal towns, something like that. Honestly, this is kind of really inspired by Sarah Dessen's book too. I can't remember which one it is though, but I kind of want this girl to, I think, spend her summers with this family, or maybe it's her family, I don't know, like spend the summers on this little coastal town in this like country club thing. And she has like her best friends that also come like every summer, and I want a little love story going on between her and one of the people who she grew up with on this coastal town. So that's my basis. I don't want to say too much, honestly, because if this does amount to anything, and I don't know, I doubt I'll ever like publish it, but if I do something with it and I want people to read it, I don't want people to know what the idea is necessarily. Like I want people to know the vibe, the premise, like the summary at the beginning of the book or the back of the book, whatever, but I don't want to be like, this is the plot twist, you know? Those are my thoughts. That's my inspiration. Coastal town vibes. I'm gonna be probably making a playlist for this with Gold Rush on repeat constantly, because something about Gold Rush just, it's one of those songs that I feel like I see the story play out in my head when I listen to it, and that's the story that I want to write. So anyways, I think that's all I'm going to say right now, all I'm gonna give away. And I'm not really sure how these updates are gonna go. I do want to vlog the whole process, but today is day 1. Haven't written anything yet. The next like 3 or so days are probably gonna be very like bulky writing days, even though I think the goal is to write, it's like somewhere between 1,500 to like 17, 18, maybe 100 words a day if you're doing the same amount every day. Which is so much, but like if I could get in like 2K today, tomorrow, and Sunday, then I'll be much better off for the future and I won't have to grind every single day. I think weekends are gonna be a lot more serious and a lot more like hunkered down. Although it's so hard to force myself to write. Oh my god, I don't know what's gonna happen with this. I'm so scared. Look, if it's 50,000 just shitty words, then it is what it is, you know? I'm just gonna do it. But I'll probably come in with an update on like Sunday night, because hopefully I'll have somewhere between like 5 to 15,000 words written by then, so that I could be really ahead of the game. I'm gonna make a note of how many words I wrote each day so that I have the record, and that so when I update you guys I could be like, this is how many words I wrote each day, this is how many words I wrote for the week, here's how I'm feeling about the writing, all of that. But yeah, I think that's all I have for you guys today. I don't think I'm actually gonna start writing right now, just because I have so much to do and I have to be at a Halloween party in 4 hours. So I'm probably gonna be like shittily throwing together some stuff like on the car ride over to the Halloween party, or like when I'm drunk tonight. Like honestly, today's gonna be a mess, but I have like other things that I have to do today, which is the worst because it's the first day of Nano and I'm like setting the precedent for myself right now. But I have a YouTube video that I have to film, I have to go on my run still, I have to get ready for the party, and I'm gonna try to find time in between that to write and to do other stuff. But I'm trying to get this last little bit of daylight to film my video, and then if I have that extra time, then I'm gonna write. I'll see you guys next time. Sorry for my skin literally reflecting. Just did my skincare. I'm about to go to sleep, but I want to do this update today because I forgot to do it yesterday on Sunday. I am just like really having too much going on. Look, I am working on it. I'm putting in a dent. The tiniest fucking dent. So yeah, like I said, it's Monday, it's day 4, and I really didn't get in a lot of words yesterday. I really didn't get in a lot of words the day before. Actually, I think I wrote about 1,700 the first day, and then I wrote about 1,700 the third day, but I wrote nothing on the second, and I only wrote about 684 words today. Yeah, so 1,714 words on the first, 0 words on the second, 1,712 words on the third, and 684 words today. So things are not looking too bright. I had 2 days that I met the goal and went a little bit over, but that does not overcompensate for the fact that I didn't write anything on the second and that I didn't write enough today. I really need one of these days to be like a 5K word day just by itself. I obviously have to make up for the second. Also, if you're like, oh, you're already fucking up, 30-day challenge, whatever, because this is part of what I'm doing for the 365 plan, which I talked about in my other videos, and also like this is also part of it. I didn't because it starts on the 4th. So technically my 30-day writing challenge started today. I know that's a little bit weird, but yeah, it started today, so I have to write every day from today to the 4th of December, but Nano is still falling from November 1st to November 30th. Nano doesn't require you to write every day, it just requires you to meet the word limit by the end. So I am still technically doing everything I'm supposed to do, I'm just not on track to finish like I probably should. But I do think that one of these days I will hunker down. I really had a jam-packed day yesterday because I had to edit an entire video, plus I had a lot of cleaning I needed to do. By the end of this week I should be a little bit more put together considering how my schedule is looking this week. I don't have as many things to accomplish, but I'm feeling a lot more productive. So I think that I will probably have a few good writing days in there, and probably during the weekend, that's when I'm gonna go and rewrite everything. Not like rewrite it, but like go and edit it all. And I think that will really up the word count, because I'm telling you guys, this shit is terrible. This is probably the worst thing I've ever written in my entire life. Like, I want to just like read out some of these things because there's so many run-on sentences and like there's so many grammar issues. It's so bad, and I'm just trying to write a really bad rough draft first so that I can actually, you know, get words out, and then I'll go and I'll fix it later. I feel like I write more and I write better when I go and I correct myself, because I'm like, what the fuck is this? I can write this better, and then I write it better. But the first time when I kind of don't have the basis planned out, like I just have to get the concepts out. But I've never really written a rough draft like this. Like, I've always been a perfectionist, so I've always made sure that like the paragraph is 100% done, final draft, before I move on to the next one. And that's not conducive to writing. Honestly, I was gonna go and read something, but like this isn't as bad as it felt when I was writing it, but it's still bad. I just feel like the sentences lack like any kind of depth. Like right here, I just wrote, "Summer nodded. Period. Even though she was homeschooled and probably didn't understand what Danny was talking about. Period. She could do her math lessons while on a boat on the lake. Period. Danny had to stick to her old desk that was missing a leg back home." Like, I get the concept, you know, like I get the vibes. I get what I'm trying to say. There's a much better way to say that, and I have an incomplete sentence in there. So I basically don't have like any of the emotions, any of the like internal thoughts, any of like the scene being set at all. It's just like dialogue with like a little bit of like motion. Like they nodded, they smiled, they laughed, they chuckled, you know, like that's the extent of how far I'm going right now. And I'm better than that. I know I'm better than that. I don't feel like I really have too much of mental capacity right now to really like get deep into this. I'm just trying to get it done. But I want to have like 15,000 words before Friday, meaning I have about 11K to reach that goal. And if I have 15,000 before the end of work week, I'll be ahead. That means I have to do 2,750 Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. That's gonna be the goal, and I'm gonna hate myself for it, but we're gonna do it. Or at least we're gonna try, because I don't know what's gonna be going on this week. We have a fucking presidential election. The Stardew Valley update just came out. I'm still on a running streak. My kitchen is a disaster. I still have to clean that. Still trying to do weekly uploads. That's not that much. When I really think about it, I thought I had more going on, but I don't. If you think about it, 2,750. I can divide that by 3 and do like 916 words at a time. So if I write 916 in the morning, 916 at lunch, or maybe like right when I get back from work, and then 916 before I go to sleep. Oh, this is killer. But I think that's a solid plan. I think 916 is doable at a time. It's digestible. All right, that's all for today. I think I'm gonna update you guys on Friday, and we can see if I actually did 916 words 3 times every day up until then. When I tell you guys that I almost quit this challenge and just quit Nano in its entirety, it was very, very, very real for me. Okay? I could not stop thinking that I was gonna fail, and I'm still gonna fail. Let's make that very, very clear. But I was just kind of hopeless, and I was really thinking about scratching this video because I didn't think there was a point to do it anymore. But I feel that something has changed a bit. So I think my last update was Tuesday of last week, and it's now Thursday of the following week. So that means it is the 14th. I can't remember when I last updated. I think it was the 5th, but now I'm like confused and thinking it's like the 7th. No, I think it was the 5th, so that is even more embarrassing. So the day I last updated, right, I had this conclusion that I was gonna write. I believe it was like 450 words 3 different times a day. So I was gonna write like 450 in the morning, 450 at lunch, and then 450 after work. I thought I like immediately followed up with that, but I don't think that actually happened. I think I actually like skipped the next days, but I did have one day, one singular day, where I wrote 491 words in the morning. Then I didn't do it for lunch. Then I was just kind of like unmotivated by the time I was done with work. And it's like, of course I can't guarantee I'm gonna be able to write at lunch. I have a job after all, like I have things to do. But I don't know, that was literally the only day I wrote. I didn't write the 2 days before that, and I didn't write 4 days after that. So that's where I've been at. And honestly, when you look at that progress just kind of like diminish, and your word count just like increases every single day to make up for the words that you lost before, that shit is discouraging. And I will say I have gone into a pretty bad depression. My mental health is almost as bad as it's ever been, if not as bad as it's ever been. And the thing is, I don't really have any like external things that are really like making that occur like it used to be in the past. I'm just genuinely mentally unwell. So it's been hard hard to kind of like give myself back that motivation to do anything, but I think there was beauty in the struggle, and I think that that crash almost like revived me. I talked about it in my journaling video, and I'm probably going to start leaning more and more towards this path as my challenge goes on. I'm not doing these 30-day challenges to be super strict about every single thing and be like, I have to do this to perfection. It's just showing up each day. And yes, I'm not showing up each day right now. Like, I am technically failing my challenge, but I think if I can't even bother to write 5-10 words a day, that is showing me how much I don't enjoy writing anymore. And that is also like a piece of the challenge. When I did the journaling challenge, there wasn't a lot of pushback from me to actually do it because it was something that I enjoyed. Same thing for running. Like, it's not super hard to go outside and run for 2 minutes if that's all I want to do. And it's weird because I wrote so much as a kid. Like, that was the thing I did all the fucking time. Like, that was my hobby. But now even the thought of going and writing like 5 words is pretty to me. And I do think a lot of it is just the loss of a habit. So I am a little bit like frustrated with myself for not trying a little bit harder, but at the same time, I don't think that writing is really for me. So I decided I wasn't going to force it this month, and I wasn't going to continuously beat myself up for it because that's all I was doing. I was sitting here like having panic attacks over the fact that I had missed 2 or 3 days in a row. And I was like, how do I make up for the fact that I've done this? Like, now I just can't do anything at all. And then I didn't know what to do about the fact that I've already like claimed this challenge, and like I already said I was gonna make videos, you know, like I already had part of this video filmed, all of that. It was like a huge identity crisis within me. But I came to the conclusion that I can't go back and reverse what I've already done. I've already, I guess, messed up. I've already kind of failed the challenge because, I mean, tomorrow is gonna be halfway through the entire month, and I am not even 10K words in. I'm not even like a fifth of the way through what I need to write. But I almost feel like coming to that conclusion and saying that, look, I'm not gonna be able to actually do this. And maybe at the end of this, I don't like writing and I never write again because it's just not really for me anymore. But every day I'm gonna try to just write a little bit, to just show up a little bit and then see where it takes me. Yesterday, I just kind of wanted to clean up the stuff that I had wrote already, which I had talked about in my last clip too, that I thought that that was gonna help me a lot if I went and I revised the rough draft, and it did. So yesterday I started revising, I started rewriting everything like basically from scratch. Like I looked at what I had wrote already and I just kind of wrote it better, and with pretty much no effort, I wrote 13,000 words yesterday. And I know even if I hadn't skipped any days, the baseline is like 1,600, 1,700 words a day, so I still wasn't even meeting the bare minimum. But for me to even pop out and do that much was pretty impressive, honestly. You know, I've been thinking about it, and I think like this challenge really is for people who already write and they pretty much like only write, like that is their hobby. I'm just not that anymore. And I think like the 30-day writing challenge, just that by itself, that's a good challenge for me to have. Maybe I should be writing a little bit every single day, but to put nano on top of it was just like a little bit, probably too much for me. So I think from here on out, I'm just gonna try to write in general. I'm not gonna have like super high expectations of myself. I'm just gonna try to write a sentence a day, and then maybe we'll get some really good things out of that, because today I was kind of riding the high, doing a little bit yesterday, and I have written 2,400 words today, and it's only 5:20, and I kind of want to finish. I literally was writing up until I had to leave work, and then I was like, well, I'm off, you know, like I'm gonna go home, but I was in the middle of writing. So I think my first session today was like 1,800 words, and then this second session that I just did got me up to 2,400, and I'm about halfway through the second chapter with revising, and then like I haven't even really started the third chapter. Like it's really messy like notes from there, so I don't know how it's gonna go once I start like writing things for the first time again. But so far revising is going great, and I kind of hope I can get somewhere between like 3 to 5K today. I'm not gonna put that much pressure on myself. If this is all I write, I'm perfectly fine with that, and I kind of hope that I keep this pattern up and still still, maybe there will be a day I just like go crazy and write like 10K, because again, I've done that before. I have a long time ago. I know what it's like to just fucking throw out 10,000 words out of nowhere. It's not easy. It's honestly not that fun, but we'll see. I really would need to be on my A game to write 50,000 words, but I think at this point, if I get 10,000 words, if I get 20,000 words, if I get 30,000 words, that's all more than zero. That's more that I would have wrote if I didn't start this challenge, because I don't think I ever would have started this novel, I guess. I don't know if I'm ever gonna finish it. I don't know if it's something I want to finish. I don't know if I care that much, you know? I know I'm a good writer. I know it's a skill that like maybe I should be using. It just doesn't really like bring me a lot of joy anymore. I don't know, like I don't sit there and get like super excited about the writing. I get excited about the output. So like I'm like, oh my god, I'm such a good writer, like let me write this so I could like read it back and be like, oh my god, you're such a bad bitch, like you wrote that. But I'm never like sitting there like I'm having a good time writing this, if that makes sense. So I don't know. I think even after this challenge, I'm still gonna have a lot of conflicting feelings about writing, and I don't know if I'm ever gonna properly get through them. That might be something I'm just gonna wrestle with for the rest of my life. But no matter what happens, like I said, I will have tried my best, at least from this point forward. I think, I don't know that I can say I was doing it from the get-go, which yes, I have like a little bit of disappointment for, but the goal is to learn and to figure out myself and to get better at these things overall. This is a journey about me. Yes, the writing is like obviously like the theme of all of this, but my process, the reason why I'm doing all of this is an internal thing. Like this is for me, and I'm documenting this because this is my journey and I want to have this all for me to look back on, for me to experience. Yes, I'm very happy you guys are watching this, but I need this reassurance that I'm not doing this to prove myself to anyone or like to be this like badass bitch that's doing all these challenges. Like no, this is a self-discovery journey. If you were watching this like just for nano and just for like writing content, I'm sorry, you've kind of gotten involved in all this drama and all of this like self-discovery and mental health stuff. We're getting very personal here. I hope you stick around since you've gotten to know me so deeply. We're getting intimate right now. But anyways, all this to say, I don't know when I'm gonna be doing updates. I don't know how much progress I'm gonna make. I don't know if I'm gonna turn this camera off and then not write for the rest of the month, and then I have to come in and do an update and say, by the way guys, I fucking failed. Because I think no matter what, I am gonna be uploading this video. It just might be a little bit embarrassing. But yeah, I hope you guys are rooting for me. I'll be rooting for myself, even though I know I'm gonna fail nano. Like that's just a given. I might come out of the process learning a lot about myself from the writing challenge. This has put me in a very thoughtful mood. I am going to go and have an existential crisis now and probably end up not writing. But I'll see you guys next time. Here's the tea. I failed nano. We're a good ways into December at this point, and the last time I wrote was actually November 19th. Yeah, it's been a minute, but my total word count was a little bit over 10K. Only accomplished about 1/5 of what I needed to for the entire month, but that is 10,000 words more than I would have wrote if I didn't do this challenge. I can't say I'm surprised, but I am disappointed. Honestly, what I'm most upset about is that I don't feel like I really gave this a super fair chance. I believe I talked about it in my last clip or some of my last clips, where it was very frustrating for me that I just wasn't writing every day in general. That was the goal of the 365 plan. It wasn't necessarily in regards to nano. That's not how I needed to approach it. I needed it to be a 30-day writing challenge, which all I needed to write was like 10 words a day. That's how I was going to approach the 365 challenge, but then I added nano on top of it, and I feel like that's what really derailed me. So if anything, I really learned something important from this specific challenge, and that is I'm not gonna put anything on top of the 365 plan challenges that I'm already doing. So I know in the 365 plan video, I talked about obviously wanting to do nano and then wanting to do 75 hard. 75 hard is not happening now. I am 100% not doing that because I feel like that's gonna take away from me actually doing the 365 plan stuff. The whole point of the 365 plan stuff was to develop the habit in as small of a quantity as possible just so that I could get it into my life, like into my routine, and see how that looks. I didn't really do that enough with writing because in the end, let me see, I only wrote 9 out of 30 days, so I didn't even do a third of what I was supposed to do. And as I said, I think that was because I put the pressure of Nano, but also I think that's just because writing is not my thing anymore. Not saying it can never be again. I don't want to like put that pressure necessarily on myself to be like deciding if this is ever going to be in my life again, because who knows, there might be a time where it interests me again. But at this stage in my life, I don't think there's any point to try to hold on to writing, like to hold on to something that I did 6-7 years ago, however long it's been. That's just not me anymore. I've changed a lot over the years, and I think I need to realize that I can't force on habits that used to be important to me just because they used to be something. But I am happy I gave it at least a little bit of a shot, whether or not I took it seriously enough, because I learned something. That was what I talked about in the last episode of the 365 plan, like diaries, whatever, where I talked about my journaling that I did in the month of October, and what I talked about in the 365 plan original video. This is about learning who I am. This is about learning what I like and don't like. And I did accomplish that in a way because this was something that I realized pretty much from the get-go, like this is not for me. I think probably by like day 3, I was like, this is not gonna work. So although a little bit disappointed in how I handled this challenge, I'm not mad that that's what I chose, and I'm not mad that I like didn't succeed in it. I debated back and forth on if I wanted to put this video up because I'm pretty sure this is gonna be a really short video. If I remember like how many clips I've gotten, I don't think it's been that many, and it's not gonna be a very like exciting video. It's just gonna be a bunch of random like clips. It's basically just like a diary entry of what I've been doing the last month, and you know, it's not that exciting, it's not that monumental. It's also a failure, and I know that a lot of people may look at this and be like, why are you posting this? Or like, if not why are you posting this, like why are you not like ashamed? Because like you didn't really accomplish anything, like why are you making a video about it? And I just want to not only post all the good in my life, I want to post like the bad. Even though I didn't really take this as a bad thing, I'm really looking at it in the most optimistic light. I know at the end of the day I still didn't accomplish what I said I was going to accomplish, but I feel like it's more embarrassing to just sweep it under the rug and pretend like it didn't happen, rather than acknowledge that like I tried this and it didn't work, and I learned something about myself. And yeah, I tried, you know? Like I did the best that I could at the time. If I did it again, would I do it a little bit differently? Probably, but I'm not gonna do it again because clearly writing is not what it used to be for me. And I'm also really excited to move forward with some things that are a little bit truer to who I am now and like what I want to be now. I feel like this also gave me a sense of knowing how to move forward in the challenge with more productive things. But yeah, I know this is like a weird video. I know it's not super exciting, super monumental, as I said, but I hope you guys at least are like a little bit inspired by the fact that like I did fail and that's okay, and I'm moving on, and like you don't have to beat yourself up for it. You don't have to be ashamed of any of it. So yeah, as much as I would love to say more, I don't really have that much more. I'm gonna leave my final numbers all on the screen, but really a lot of it is just like 0 words a day. That's just how it is. And I would talk about like the summary of what I wrote if it was anything good and if it was something that I felt like I was gonna like move forward with, but I think I'm just gonna scrap it because I'm not like gonna delete it. I'm just gonna keep it in my docs until maybe one day I do want to come back to it, but I don't think that day's ever really gonna happen. So that all being said, if you like this video, be sure to leave a like and a comment, and if you're feeling generous, you can even subscribe. I'll be able to see you guys all in the next one, but if not, bye bye.